Souls begin to intertwine. Your heart of gold, so pure, divine. And I lost myself within the fire, breaking free from my desire. A heart of gold, forged to inspire. It's Starfire. It's Starfire. On this journey we will find our souls begin to intertwine. Your heart of gold, so pure, divine. And I lost myself within the fire, breaking free from...
Hello friends around the world, and welcome to another exciting recap of the NUEL Blood Bowl competition. We are coming into week number 5, with my name, of course, remaining for now, Counterfeit, joined by Exkirby. And Kirby, this is our final 3 weeks we're getting into right now.
Yes, and quite remarkably, I think almost every single team is still in contention for making playoffs at this point in time. It is amazing how close this is ending up being.
And let's go and take a quick look across at how the teams are standing right now. So, as expected, Masterful remains undefeated up at the top of the table, not with the highest team value. It's been overtaken in a couple of places, but yet to concede a game, yet to concede even a touchdown so far. Kobe, what makes this Masterful guy so unbeatable?
His field positioning is absolutely devastating, where he was able to get men on top of the ball despite having some of the lowest movement in the league. Like, he'll just get on top of you, he'll strip the ball from your hands. If it takes him 12 turns to pick it himself up, that doesn't matter. You're not getting a chance at it. And then he will just make that slow procession up the field. There's not a thing anyone can do to stop it, it seems like, at this moment in time. As you said, 4 wins, no touchdowns conceded. The man is absolutely unstoppable right now.
I mean, Hog Dude Scott is the one stepping up to the plate this week. It's going to be the very top of the table up against each other. Hog Dude, only with 1 draw so far, seems to be the strongest challenger yet for Masterful's unbeaten record. That will be our headline tonight. But what do we have coming up for our very first match?
Well, if you go a little further down the table towards, say, that 7th, 8th place, where obviously that will be the cut for our playoffs, we have West Street War, one of the certainly better looking teams in the broadcast matches we've featured so far, only going 2-1-1, but some spectacular performance, notably the star player Soyo with bonus agility and movement allowance, making him very potent. They'll be going to be in our first match against the Fort Knights, who are currently sat at 5th at 2-1-1. Who are generally that more stable team, and their stability has shown with their results so far.
Alright guys, so of course we'll get into a little bit more about the rest of the table as and when it becomes relevant, but As Kirby said, it's all a battle for the top 8. We should waste no more time in hitting the pitch, though, for our very first game. So West Street War in 7th place against 5th place, the Fortnights. You'll notice there is a 4-way tie all the way down from 5th to 8th. So the matches towards the end of the season, I think, are going to make some really big impacts on who makes that top 8.
Yeah, and like, top 8 is not a self-contained unit at this point in time. There are... Let me have a quick look here. At least 7 teams that could very easily snipe top 8 right now. Probably even more if some matches go the lower team's way. These wins are absolutely crucial at this point in time if these teams want to maintain their top 8 positioning.
Alright, so we get to see the War, who we've seen plenty of times on the stream. We've got 3 Orc teams in our league right now, so they have proven themselves a dominant force. The Fortnights, of course, they've got a few tricks up their sleeves themselves. The Bretonians, very, very competitive.
Yes, they have access to a large quantity of standard default abilities on most of their units. The Blitzers start with block, the Blockers start with tackle, not tackle, wrestle, excuse me, which is largely confusing. You'd expect the Blockers to start with block, we'll gloss over that. Thanks to some extra levels up as well, they've managed to get dodge on 2 of their blitzers, as well as guard on 2 of the blockers, making their line of scrimmage that they're going to set up here extremely good should they go for it. But it looks like they're instead going to offer up the linemen, who are very strong in their own right, starting with fend, meaning it's very hard to sort of dig into them when you try and get those initial blocks on line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's going to be a major concern for Lostra here. You know, if all of these peasants are fending away, stopping you from following up, how are you supposed to advance your cage?
Well, the main way you're going to have to do it is just by breaking through. The Orcs are very powerful. They have strength 4 black Orcs, as you would expect. Obviously, the Blitzers having that block ability as well, making them very strong in taking people down. As well, I mentioned Zoyo, he's a plus agility, plus movement allowance, or he's basically an elf at this point in time. It's actually ridiculous. There's a very good chance that they don't advance the cage too far. They just need to make enough of a hull for Sayo to just run it through. He has scored many a touchdown for this West Street War side by being that incredibly good ball carrier.
I always, when I'm playing Blood Bowl, one of the things that always kind of like, I'm always trying to look out for is to try and make a player effectively into a star player. And that's what Sayo's managed to do here. Just absolutely ludicrous. We were impressed when we saw them get agility first, but extra movement as well. They're unrecognizable compared to a normal Orc Blitzer, as the first blocks are coming out from the West Street War. No knockdowns yet, but there we go. Only AV7 minimal armor on these peasants, even while they can fend to keep the Orcs from following up.
Yes, but like, the fend doesn't stop them from being pushed into the range of more Orcs, is the terrifying prospect. But all the good positioning here, so Sayo's going to be able to bring that up straight towards his team and get it into some protection. And from there, this right flank looks to be where the West Street War are going to shove the ball. They'll throw a few Orcs forward, try and cover this option, and go from there.
So it's notable that the West Street War do not have themselves a thrower, as the first successful block comes in and KOs Floss instantly. So that was one of those blockers we mentioned before, one of the crucial parts to be able to knock down some of these Orcs. Not going to be part of things for the time being, and also one of the guard pieces that Torvids would be relying on.
Yeah, so their next drive is going to be really awkward when they want to stack up this line of scrimmage, because now they're down the possibility of using that guard to stack some of the blocks more in their favour. As we go into the Fortnight's turn, I don't know how they're going to approach this. They're going to look to try and maybe crash through on this left side, but they don't really have the manpower, because this is the problem with the 5-star defense, right? You protect your best players, but you don't really have any way of counter-attacking. You sort of have to let the opponent come to you, and that's... I mean, I don't know who wins a fight. It's the honest problem, because in my head the Bretonians do, because they have all these amazing block skills. They have the block, they have the wrestle, but strength 4 Blackhawks is still a terrifying prospect to play into.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's going to come down to the armor across the board being just lower on the Bretonian team.
That's true.
Yeah, if we've got the right setup here for Torvids, then absolutely they're going to be able to win out. Whenever the fight's kind of even, it's going to be looking good. But when you've got peasants with nothing going up against blitzers with armor value 9 and block as well, that part of the team certainly can't stand up anywhere near as well as the equivalent part of the Orc team can.
That's true. You can see the middle of the pitch has been completely voided of players as they've all just been punched in the face. This is probably going to be the very slow cage up here from Westbury Wire. I've seen it before where they'll have this like sort of slow cage up progression for the majority of a half, where they'll just slowly bring the cage forwards, and then in the last few turns bring Soyo all the way forwards to score that touchdown. Foul attempt only results in a stun of Marshmallow, but again, that's a player that's not going to be able to contest the ball carrier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know what Lutterer was going for there. That's a very bold play, as the Dauntless will be used to try and shift away when the Black Orcs, so that's what we haven't mentioned yet. The Blitzers with the Dauntless skill are able to more or less equalize their skill against these big Black Orcs, as the wrestle gets one player down, but there's still so many Orcs between the Bretonnians and the ball carrier.
And the problem with Wrestle is it does take yourself down as well, even if it doesn't concede the touchdown, which means it is field positioning you are effectively conceding to the opponent. You can see there's a very wide gap on this right side of the field right now where potentially you could shove a few walks and just reform the cage on that right flank. I don't think any of them are actually in tackle zones right now. So they can do have free reign of moving this cage to the side. Soya has absolutely the movement value to get to safety right now if the cage is formed properly, and they're going to go for it.
I mean, this is one of the problems, isn't it? You know, if you're as a Bretonnian team, if you're trying to keep your distance from the York team, you're not forcing them to play in a particular style. And yeah, I think you're right. We've seen the advance right up that right-hand side. The Bretonnians look like they're going to get, if not outflanked, at least outmaneuvered here. I guess they're going to have to run back and try and get in front of that cage once again, but presumably this could happen a bunch of times during this first half.
Absolutely, because again, Soyo has movement 7, and the Orcs are positioned very well in front of him that they don't need that much movement to swing cross a few squares just to get to safety. And if the Bretonnians aren't like contesting them with tackle zones, then they're just going to be able to do that for free.
Opportunity might be coming through. Here's Torviz. Gets a very fortunate both down on the left-hand side. So a possibility of being able to go after Soyo, who is still, a very hard to put down player at the best of times. The blitz comes in, knocks down Bar and Beyond. This is one of the guard blockers, so moving back into position. Looks like it's not going to be an attempt on the ball carrier this turn. Instead, just trying to put up a firmer defense. They
had no chance of the ball carrier. It was good positioning there from Losser, just making sure the ball was remaining safe. Again, Soyo being that move 7 ag4 player can just score from out of nowhere as long as he maintains possession of the ball, so keeping him safe is the number one priority right now. Not scoring range yet, but again, if it takes him a couple more turns, that's fine. That's basically Losser's playbook this entire tournament.
So, with Soyo being such a high priority target as the Orcs get on with the whole punching things, we do have to think about whether or not they're going to end up being targeted for removal on the pitch, and the Bretonnians have managed to pick up a piece that is actually pretty well suited for that, though they may not get a chance to with the way things are going. Ninja, with the dirty player skill, means that as much as it's been the Orcs fouling so far, Bretonnians very much have fouling in their wheelhouse as well.
Can I just say how great it is that of all players, Ninja has dirty player. Just take a moment to soak that one in. But yes, absolutely, there is a good chance that if Soyo goes down, there is a very good dog pile opportunity coming through here for this Bretonnian side. Not that they're going to get on top of him in the first place, because again, you can see his positioning. It's all about protecting this star player ball carrier right now. This has been the MO time and time again, and it appears to be generating results right now because the ball is slowly moving forward, and again, moves end of an IG4, as soon as he's in rage, he can just go for that touchdown play.
I'm curious to see what Torviz is going for here, because rather than trying to move a lot of guys in front of the presumed path of the cage, it looks like instead the Bretonnians are trying to control the center of the pitch. Their guard player default remaining in place for the time being, unlikely to get moved. But presumably the Orcs will be able to just move up further if they get rid of Where Are We Dropping, who's currently in the way.
I hate that name so much. Very slow motion on break. It does actually result in a KO on default. So, Yeah, again, that's more of the pitch opened up. Not that Lustra particularly needed that pitch to work with, but they'll take it anyway. I don't know what Torvis' plan is right now. He's playing extremely defensively. I mean, granted, he's definitely limiting Lustra's scoring opportunities to one this half of his playing like this, but I feel like doing this sort of guarantees a touchdown, and you're sort of exposing yourself to a loss of punching right now. You can see he's already taken 2 KOs and is still offering up a lot of his linemen just as sacrifices. Ninja goes down as well. That's another knockout.
It's another skilled player out as well, so that's both the guard pieces for Torviz off the pitch with no guarantee they'll come back again. And as well, the dirty player of Ninja, no longer to be seen. It's going to be left down to these blitzers now, who've got a lot of the skills built in, particularly Noob Master, who has got block and dodge. I think, the Bretonnians seem like they've been sucked into the vortex of pain that the Orcs can put down, and they're just losing players again and again. Do at least get them knocked down, but it's not even an armor break there onto Tigerworks, and we will see Noob Master retreat back to the safety of their own lines.
You said vortex of pain. I never think that's right here. I feel like Lustra offered the vortex of pain, and Torvis just sort of offered a bunch of linemen to it and didn't really commit to anything. So now he's just sort of slowly bleeding from his chopped off arm, if that makes sense. Marshmallow goes down as well. That's another man. That's the missed next game as well. You hate to see it.
Oh boy, it turns out the secret ingredient of marshmallows was blood!
Hey! I'm not eating marshmallows again.
Don't eat that marshmallow, at least.
Yeah.
As we're seeing blitzes being spent now just punching linemen.
Yeah, because he has the man advantage. Like, Torvis is down 4 men right now. The ball carrier is under no pressure at all. These blitzes can just be spent to clear up the field. He has 3 turns, and just move the ball carrier slightly so he can get there in the remaining turns. Lustra knows he only needs to score the 1 touchdown this half to be ahead, and he's very much setting himself to do so and take out as much of the Bretonnian side as he can in doing so.
So we're down to 8 active players right now. And I mean, certainly we've seen a lot of work being done by West Street Live, the blitzer with Mighty Blow. When you've got armor value 7 and someone hitting you with Mighty Blow, most of the time you're going to be taken off the pitch in one way or the other. As Bretonnians, they've at least forced back the Orcs for the time being. It's a 1-die block, which will turn into a knockdown. I think we're going to see another pushback on the Black Orc. Dauntless works. It's only a pushback. But I have to think it's only a matter of time until Lustra fully commits into getting through the Bretonnian line. Yeah,
it's just... The positioning makes it slightly awkward that you do have to commit a blitz to make a hole, but as soon as that blitz comes down, like... You find that gap, you can absolutely get Sawyer straight up it. They're going to go towards this right blitzer, who's just going to get shoved. But again, that's enough of a gap where Sawyer can just run straight up the pitch right now. Like, you can move him up, probably get a few extra... Maybe you can't. Actually, if John Wick goes down, which he will, then you do have enough... extra men just to get a cage a bit further up the field and keep Soyo A safe, B in scoring range.
Hey MIT, welcome to the stream. I'm pretty sure you've got no idea what Blood Bowl is, so we'll try and keep things as clear as possible. So we're currently in week number 5 of the NUEL Blood Bowl tournament. NUEL is a UK student organisation that brings together student players from various universities to play different games against each other, and this time it's included this Blood Bowl game, which is effectively somewhere between American football and rugby, as a board game with a lot of punching and a few more chainsaws than perhaps you might be expecting.
It's the Warhammer universe, so you're expecting plenty of chainsaws. We're going to see the blitz here come through onto Soyo, who has actually been exposed, and he doesn't actually have dodge, despite being an amazing player. So this is probably the first time I've actually seen Soyo actually drop the ball. I will point that out.
Fortunately, doesn't break armor. The ball scattering to just below them. This is a massive opportunity. While Torviz is unlikely to be able to score, this does...
I don't know the Lustra can score this turn, actually. He's got no... I don't know if the spare player here has enough moves to... No, he can't score. John Wick will get knocked out by the crowd. That's another man down, potentially for another turn, but I think that blitz actually has saved Torvi's at least the half.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. I think with 4 players being KO'd and one of them being taken out in a more permanent fashion, the Bretonians are definitely going to struggle in the second half. But for now, it's seeming that they've done all they need to, so let's see. Soyo could go back down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
He's
7, 8.
Down is the thing, so he starts with -3 movement.
Ah, of course.
But obviously,
how
getting
good,
up is difficult. You don't get it for free. You do have to spend movement points to stand up. Just a stun on that break on Ali A. He might just go for a pass just to get some. Well, he's not going to pick up the ball. Why are you re-rolling? I know he can pass. He could pass. He failed. Potentially pass to the Orc in the middle of the pitch there, being contested by, I believe that is a blitzer, and hopefully make a dodge roll on him and he can score the touchdown. It's slim pickings, but that's the best chance he has. So this is currently a free turn for Torvis, where he's just able to punch whoever he wants. He's burned a blitz already, so he's going to go for this block here. I think he might go for the 2 red dice block on the blitzer further down the field, but I don't think he will. Well, that's me told, isn't it? It pays. Yeah. Oh, I mean, he gets a shove, but that'll be the half.
So that's a half down with. Given how things were going in the opening half, I was fully prepared to see the Bretonians down 1-0. At this point, we've got the return of one of those guard blockers. That's pretty big, but 3 of them will not be doing so. So this means that the majority of the rest of the game, the Bretonian team, will be down 4 players. Even if they're receiving, I think holding on to that ball is going to be a pretty tall task.
Yeah, no, it's a question of how do the West Street War set up their kick here. It looks like they're going to go for at least a variant of the 5-star defense, where you put your 5 best players in the back line, cover them with some linemen, only put 3 men up front who can absorb the initial pressure from this line of scrimmage, and obviously when the kick comes through, you minimize the amount of players that immediately are blocked, and you also have enough free men that you can then position to wherever you so desire.
Okay, so the 3 Black Orcs for Lostra holding the front line with a walkabout, the most experienced of the Black Orc bunch, holding back for the time being. It seems to be that we're going to be having Drake being the ball receiver there, one of the blitzers for the Bretonian team, as Drake and players both get injured. That's the ball receiver for the Bretonians taken out.
Actually, an injury as well. I was expecting maybe a stun. No, that's just a badly hurt. He's out of the game.
That
Drake is gone.
That is, well, let's say stun on one of the Orc linemen, but that's nothing in comparison. So now Thor is going to have to run back to get that ball. Oh boy, there were some worse kick-off results, but that was pretty close contention for being the worst thing that could have happened right there.
You've lost your best player. I'm going to say that is easily the worst thing that could have happened to you. So now obviously you have to send up back your other blitzer, which means you have less men contesting this Orc front line, which basically means there's a good chance that you just get rushed down in your own half, and the ball will be deep towards your end zone, where if the ball is knocked loose from the hands of new Master 69, he's just going, oh, that's Thor. Not, my apologies, he doesn't have dodge. That is Thor. If he drops the ball, he's dropping it so far deep that there's a very real chance West Street will just score a touchdown.
7 players left on the pitch, and we've yet to even mention this Lostra coming to this game with a wizard. So able to drop fireballs and lightning bolts, well, at least one of each, wherever they please, means that even if Torviz does make some progress up the pitch, they still got to deal with a 2+ chance of having their player struck down from up on high.
Honestly, there's a part of me that says drop it now, or at least maybe we can't drop it now, but you know, you get the idea. Just to get the ball carried down that far upfield, who else is grabbing the ball? He's just stuck up there. No one can back him up. You can just have free blitz on this front line, and then because the ball is there, it's basically a free touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be very, very tempting to do so. Right now, the Bretonians desperately trying to hold the line, but yeah, what is Thor, the blitzer, coming up to? A line that's deeply embroiled with the Orcs already. with presumably the only path being directly through the majority of the Orc team, who vastly outnumber the Bretonnians.
Yeah, it's not like you have a Soyo with agility 4, right? You have to take these Orcs head on. It's a very terrifying prospect given, strength 4 and Travis Scott trips up and breaks his ankle. Oh, it's a serious concussion, I believe that was. I didn't see the full injury. Either way, they are just hemorrhaging players right now. There's only 6 left on the pitch, I think. They are outmanned and outgunned at this point, and they're going to easily surround the ball carrier and just punch him in the face.
Alright, so it's the time of myths and legends. These knights facing up against a horde of orcs. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if there were only as many orcs as there were knights. Backed into a corner, Torviz managed to salvage the first half, but at the cost of half of the team. Can the remaining half pull off a miracle? Soyo is still glowering at the back of the orc team as the going for it does fail. That's a reroll coming in, and a 2-dice block turns into a push. The ball carrier stays safe for now, as the cage was not complete.
He's kind of priced into stepping forwards, which means that he immediately gets 2 dice back on him. Granted, just force the ball carrier to do nothing this turn, and so it'll hamper the setup on the cage, but it's an orc down at least.
It looks to be like the Bretonnians are just going to end up being held in place here, even if under the best circumstances they do get knockovers. There's the 2 red dice into the double push. The orcs are kept away.
You can't really afford to keep away right now because your ball carrier is exposed, especially with Chief Yu getting KO'd here. That's another player gone, by the way. Like you can see, there's just a big gap to the top left of the ball carrier right now, where there's just any orc can just walk up and punch the ball carrier in the face. And I think that's what's going to happen eventually, is to set it up with a few good blocks.
What about West Street Live? They've been doing a great job of punching things in the face so far. I mean, even if we're not even on the Blitz who's got dodge, so it's not going to be particularly difficult to knock Thor over and make a scrambled mess out of their brain pan. Down to 5 players, all... Well, one of them on the floor, the other 4 compressed into the center. We do get that knockdown. The ball goes wild into the orc half.
Straight into the lap of Soyo. Okay, with that block though... I mean, the ball is still loose, and Luster could very easily pick it up with probably Soyo. It's like he's the good ball carrier. But they have at least given the Fortnite a turn to potentially scramble for the ball. But I don't know if they could do better than pick it up. That dodge roll failing probably means it's not going to happen. They have to burn a reroll here.
Oh.
And it doesn't even work. That's the problem with low agility, right? I don't know what agility the Blitzes are working on. My head, let me...
they're just the bog standard agility 3.
I mean, it's still like, what is that? 50-50 odds of making a dodge? That's still, like, really bad. The ball turned into a baked potato being flung around by all players. They'll get the blitz hit just to make sure that this pickup goes uncontested.
New master! No!
This game is a disaster for the Fortnites. They have got so many injuries right now.
That is the star player of the Fortnites taken out of the rest of the game. Is Soyo, a smug look on his orcish face, walks in, picks up the ball and says, "Now where was we?"
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Okay, he can't score a touchdown this turn, but he can score next turn. But can... The Orcs get the ball back with 2 turns remaining. I'm thinking they could maybe do a 2-turn drill and score 2 touchdowns here, which would be amazing in terms of progression for the team. They've already got so much SPP for this game just by the amount of injuries they've managed to score here.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this has just been an absolute cavalcade of extra experience points being earned. The Bretonnians are literally just running away. All thoughts of chivalry have been abandoned at this point, instead deciding... We'll just save ourselves for another day. At least we do see where are we dropping, trying something. An escape attempt doesn't go so well, though, for the last remaining blitzer.
You are happy that dodge roll failed, because that means you do not stand up to a man with Mighty Blow. The Mighty Blow is more likely to give you an injury than just failing the odds roll. It puts you on the floor, but it doesn't put you in any real risk. And I don't necessarily know that West Street War are going to look for a foul here, considering they're already far ahead in the game. They don't need to risk suspension. They don't gain anything from fouling. They'll probably settle for punching people in the face.
It's a little hard to say. I mean, certainly with so few players left on the Bretonian teams, reducing those numbers down even further could really seal the deal here. But I think
the deal is already pretty sealed. You know, it's already been vacuum packed. I don't know how you can get much tighter than that.
I mean, we could easily get to the point where if there is a big group foul here, the Bretonians get to make the not able to field 3 players concession, which is very, very rare, but I think, given the setup we've got for the Orcs right now, I think that foul is a coming. Ah!
Not a fan, but okay. It's
Thoughts
to
out.
look at. Well, fair enough.
That's all the blitzers gone. We are literally down to the final 3 players who are running for their lives.
All right, I will say though, there is a chance that we get the 3 players concession, but given that half of these are only KOs, there's a good chance that some of them wake up, so they will at least be forced to take the next turn. I think we're going to go for some value SPP here. I don't think we're even going to...
Ooh.
How do you... Oh, okay, it's not a throw, it's attempting to just funnel.
Oh no!
What is going on?
Could this be the most embarrassing end to a match ever? It's unlikely with an agility 4 orc waiting there to pick it up.
Sayo can at least grab the ball and he's trying to hand off the ball so he can put some XP onto the player who I don't know. Is that? I think that's West Street Live. You have a Thunderstrike, right? You're not getting your money back on it. You might as well use it.
It's true, the Wizards, they're notoriously stingy with their return policies. As you're right, it's going to be... It looks like it's going to be looking for...
Yeah, it's West Street Live. Oh yeah, he's 3 off the level. That's a guaranteed level up when he scores that touchdown. Meanwhile, the Fortnites are bravely running away.
Oh boy, that's pretty brave. Hey, Lemon Blue. Welcome to what's looking to be one of our most one-sided games of the NUEL so far.
The most one-sided 1-0 you'll ever see. Where are we dropping? Gets knocked out. If he did anything other than... If that block went badly, I'd be horrifically surprised, but that's going to be the 1-0 touchdown for Losser on this West Street Live side, and I believe that is the end of the game.
Oh boy, that was pretty darn brutal. Yep, squash match is the word. It was pretty entertaining. I mean, I feel a little bit bad for the Bretonians. Through that one, I felt like I was sure we were going to see more goals than that, given how badly that game was going.
So... The Fortnite setup was to play for that first half, where they offered up their linemen to the vacuum of the York punching squad. But the problem is, they slowed down the cage, sure, but they also lost so many men in that first half, where their second half, they just weren't able to feel... They were on 8 men. They got immediately that injury on the kickoff result. They just had to keep feeding men to the York side to hold them back, and they just kept going down, and there was nothing they could do from that point on. I could see what they were trying to achieve, but they lost too many men trying to achieve it.
Yeah, I don't think they were kind of... I mean, we look at the stats here. 13 armor breaks for West Street War. That's kind of normal. 0 anything for the Fortnites. We talk about a shut-out game at the Q outside Bar 1 Stadium. The fans are definitely going to be going home happy. Let's check in on those SPPs. Not actually as many as you would have expected based off of that last game.
I mean, 1 touchdown and then an MVP, and actually, yeah, that's very low.
I think it was all those KOs, wasn't it?
Yeah. There weren't many actual injuries. There was the kickoff result one. There's only 3 more, and that's the rest of the SPP. Yeah, that adds up. And then the rest were, as you said, KOs, which is still very good for your board presence, and will absolutely get a new game in these critical last few weeks in the season. But in terms of progression, not that amazing. I mean, it's still really good, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the 21, 23 SPP games we have seen in the past.
Yeah, so you can see there, the West Street War never failed an armor roll of the 18 times.
That's actually ridiculous, to be fair. What is this?
That is... Some of the stats are a little hard to pass in Blood Bowl, but the Dauntless did pretty well for the Bretonians, so that's something we're looking for as a potential strength for them. But, yeah, I mean, it was pretty rough.
Again, once you start hemorrhaging men to the York side and you need to play that punchy style, you are just going to lose. You can see 45 blocks to 28, and I feel like that in itself sort of sets the tone for the game.
Yes. So the Fortnites on their previous week, they went up against Masterful, the number 1 team. Unfortunately, they fell short there again, not able to even put a touchdown scored against Masterful. So they had their shot at the very top. Now with West Street War beating the Fortnites, it's presumably going to drive the Fortnites further down the table and put them into a more likely contention for getting knocked out of playoff position. I'm really excited if with West Street War, beating the Fortnites means that we might even get to see West Street War going up against the Khemri squad next week.
There's a good potential that happens. Now it would be interesting to see, because while I do think they lose that straight-up punching match, again, Soyo has agility 4 and movement 7, and if they're able to at least hold a reasonable cage, there's a good chance that this West Street War side can just outmaneuver the Khemri.
Alright, so we're going to take ourselves a very short break while we get set up for our second game. For all the folks watching right now, what is it we've got lined up for our second of our 3 matches this evening? What excitingness is on its way?
Well, I believe the technical term for it is high agility shenanigans. On the one side, we have Blitz or Nothing, who are a team going, if I can find them very quickly, 1, 1, and 3. But because they are playing this elf side, they have a very real potential of just high rolling on their dice and just scoring a ridiculous quantity of touchdowns in ridiculous fashion. On the other side, we have the Jorvik Jets, the Skaven side, coached by Colin Dura, who we have seen has scored ridiculous touchdowns from ridiculous board positions where it doesn't seem possible. Shout out to their last game when they literally scored the miracle one-turn touchdown drill. It's going to be, in my head, it's going to be one of these very high-scoring games with lots of shenanigans, and it's certainly going to be one you're not going to want to miss.
Alright guys, so we'll be back in around 3 minutes time for our second match of this evening. We'll be trying to get through as quick as we can, so stay tuned and we'll be back momentarily.
I'm falling down from the sky and from the ground. Up above, just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. On this journey we will find our souls begin to intertwine. Your heart of gold so pure, divine, and I lost myself within the fire, breaking free from my desire. A heart of gold forged to inspire. It's Starfire. It's Starfire.
Welcome back, everybody, to the unofficial coverage of the NUEL's week number 5 of its Blood Bowl competition. I'm still kind of joined by Kirby, and we did see some pretty nasty action in our first game of the day, but now we move on to the high-flying agility teams, or at least the high-falutin and low-scuttling Dark Elves against Skaven.
Yes, this is going to be one of those matches where we sort of see the more risk-taking playstyles, where before we saw the more punchy, slow styles. This time we're going to see a lot of dodge rolls, a lot of, maybe some level of passing involved. Just trying to move the ball up and down the field as quickly as possible. It should be a high-scoring affair, and I can't wait to get into it.
So, just before we do, though, a little bit of backstory for any of you guys who've not been with us on previous weeks. So, for the Blitz or Nothing Dark Elven squad, the best they've managed so far is a single draw. Every other game of theirs has been a loss. So, coming into this one, they're looking to pick up that first win. But for the Jets, the Jorvik Jets, their first win was last week. As you mentioned before, what a win it was.
Yes, it was one of those ones that looked like they were staring down the barrel of a guaranteed draw with only one turn left. And the one-turn kickoff drill is very rare. There's only a very few teams that can do it, but the Skaven absolutely can, and Connor Dura, the coach of the Jets, absolutely nailed it. Granted, I felt like they deserved to win before this. They were forced into this turn 16 situation where the way they played, but managed to drag it out anyway. Played spectacularly. What sort of won my heart in the process, I'm not going to lie. Cast a bias, but...
I mean, I think that's, certainly from coming from a team that started out the season extremely, I don't want to say extremely poorly, but like they had very, very poor results to start things off. To see them start to come alive and potentially become a playoff threat. I mean, at this point, for Blitz or Nothing, this is their chance to, come and steal some of that comeback limelight. For the Jets, if they win here, then they really do start to look like a team that could compete for that top 8 playoff spot. But let's waste no more time.
Yeah, absolutely, as you said, they're currently going 1-1 and 2, but the current team in 8th, the Thunderstrikers, are only 2-1-1. If they get a loss, suddenly the Jets are at the same scoreline. But they win here, obviously. There's a very real chance that the Jets can make playoffs at this point in time. They need to take every win they can get. Same for the Blitz or Nothing. They might be a technically weaker team, but they are still very much in playoff contention right now. With a couple wins and a couple good results going their way, they can absolutely make this happen.
Alright, it's going to be a home game for Blitz or Nothing at Apocalypse Drow Stadium. Oh, our players are so very witty. So very witty. We can see that the Dark Elves, some serious looking faces there. Again, competing for their first win of the season, and also to crush the hopes and dreams of not just the Jorvik Jets, but us casters who have been so enamored of their performance as of last week.
Well, yes. An important thing to note, though, is the Blitz and Nothing have been struggling for SPP this tournament. They've only got one level up, that is on Elf number 9, who has opted for the kick option. Granted, not as typical option you see on these Elves, but in this matchup it's going to do a lot of good, because it sort of can force the ball into some awkward positions where you do rob the Jets of that 1-turn touchdown, 2-turn touchdown potential, where they have to spend time gathering the ball to maneuver in position to score in the first place. And I do believe it will actually be Blitz or Nothing opting to use this kick in the initial drive. Problem they're also having is with players, due to some unfortunate injuries and death, they're currently playing an 8-man, regular 8-man side, so they have to take 3 journeymen who start with loner, meaning there's a chance, the 50-50 chance they don't get to use a reroll when it's given to them, and they only have 2 rerolls to play with. So there's a good chance this could go very wrong very quickly if they need to use these journeyman linemen.
Yeah, very, very expendable line of scrimmage players at the very least. But yeah, I mean, we've got only 3 blitzes of a potential 4 for the Dark Elven squad taking the field. Under normal circumstances, the Dark Elves, with their generally somewhat superior armor and more players with block, would have a larger physical advantage over the Skaven team, but not so much now, as we've got the Gutter Runners. They've been hogging all those experience points, all those SPP, as Blitz or Nothing, well, they needed that reroll, and they're going to get it.
Wonderful for them. Again, this is a very, risk-heavy playstyle from both teams. There's the kick coming in clutch. You can see how far back that ball is.
Oof.
Yeah, there's a lot of good skills on these gutter runners who are basically have soaked up all the SPP. They have block sidestep, they have strip ball, they have block. They have a lot of amazing skills on them, but they are still only strength 2 and they're still only armor 7. If the elf side can get through all these good skills, they can just get injuries, get KOs, keep them off the pitch, and sort of remove a lot of the power from the Skaven core. Oh,
Oof.
they have the reroll for the double skulls, but that is definitely the role you do not want to see as a Blood Bowl player.
So the Skaven look like they're trying to take over the centre of the pitch right now. We've seen the Conadura in the previous game against Mystery Inc. was very willing to try and fight for space, which can be very, very risky for a low armor team. As we do see running in is going to be Gunnar Plague Master with the sidestep and block. Very hard to put down, and only 3 SPP from leveling up again.
That's a terrifying problem. I don't think there's a level 4 player in the league right now, is there? That's...
I do apologise. I misread there. There's still quite a few SPP to go, but it's...
Okay, good. I was going to say...
Going by how many SPP these gutter runners are hogging from the team in general, I think if there's going to be any players that will end up being high level quickly, it's got to be these gutter runners.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they are touchdown machines, and touchdowns give a whole chunk of SPP when you score them, especially with the sort of passing plays you can use to generate a few extra SPP as well. They have the agility to make that sort of play-making happen. So, like, maybe not this game, but certainly before the end of playoffs, I might imagine he's definitely one of the players that could make level 4. Because of this good kick, it's going to take the Jets a while to bring this ball forward, but they do have active Wrathbones, that thrower, who's going to be able to bring that ball right the way forward when the opportunity arrives. So just play the field right now, keep out of range of these elves who do have the good move of 7, so they are able to close the gap quite quickly if they're not marked off, which it looks like they're not going to be on that left flank. So they're trying to find some space to work with, and once that space happens, we'll see the throw, we'll see the gutter runners gutter run, and probably a touchdown, maybe in 2 or 3 turns.
Right now, the Skaven managed to break through on the right-hand flank and mostly drive a spike into the Dark Elven defense in the center. They've carved themselves out a good amount of territory here, with only Elfie, Manning, and Elfo, I'm seeing a theme here, able to stand in the way as the dodge doesn't go so well for Corpit, one of the replacement linemen. We've talked about the elves using replacements here. The Skaven, normally known for having a deep bench of spare players, have only got what they brought onto the pitch in this first half to work with. Any injuries will stick and reduce player numbers permanently.
Absolutely. I guess there's a double-edged sword of having low team value, and then yes, you do have less players, you have potentially weaker players, but at the same time you do limit the amount of extra men or inducements the opponent can bring in. But it's nothing came into this game with an 8-10 team value. That's mostly due to the fact that they were missing 3 linemen. If the Skaven side was bringing in extra players, that's team value that Blitz could potentially use to bring in, say, a star player like a bomber or something like that. So it has sort of limited Blitz options in this game, but at the same time it does sort of lower the power level of the Jets themselves.
Well, Elf number 9, very creatively named, did manage to get a lucky knockdown onto the Plague Master there. So with block, dodge, and sidestep, that's a tough rat to take down at the best of times, even if you're rolling 2 dice against them. For now, though, taking it to the grass means they won't be receiving any balls anytime soon, but it's going to be a pass across by Wrathbones. Going to get picked up immediately. And I think we're going to be seeing some, perhaps, running play down this opened up right-hand flank. Yeah,
you can see the elf on our left there has been brought right the way up into the Skaven deep field, where they sort of forced the play to happen. Because Kyson's that far forward, you can't really afford to keep the throw with the ball that far back. You need to start bringing it forwards towards the rest of your core. And oh, that is a very awkward block there. What you've done there is you left an elf uncontested in the middle of the field, where you might have to just bring someone across to deal with him. They'll sure make that gutter on the right side of the field, but there's a good chance that the ball carrier just gets blitzed right now.
Yeah, this is an awkward setup, you're right, for the Skaven.
Oh, he has his move still, sorry, my apologies.
I mean, it's still not amazing. They've been able to unable to knock over Elfosaurus
They just
Rex.
chain past to the gutter runner and
What?
just went
Wait,
in.
what?
So,
All right.
you know what I said about Skaven nonsense?
Yeah, I mean, I completely missed that there was a spare gutter runner going, but looks like was not very much not the case for the Jorvik Jets coach, Connor Dura.
Like, this is the problem with Skaven, right? Of the high agility team in general. If you leave two men unopposed like that, that's what can happen. You get a pass into a handoff, into an oops, we've covered 20 tiles in one turn, and there's not a thing you can do about it because you left the space open. That's the kind of thing that you can do in this game, and that's the kind of thing both of these teams need to be on the watch out for. So that's going to be the first touchdown going the way of the Jorvik Jets. That's up in this 5-star defense, and they'll go from there. I'm interested to see how Swaggermuffin's able to respond.
Yeah, very, very early score. We've still got most of the first half left to play. The Elves still ultimately with the 3 rerolls left, so shouldn't be worrying too much about picking up the ball and making some progress up the pitch. They still have, however slight that strength advantage, those loner players actually been kept fairly far away from the line of scrimmage, as Blitz or Nothing get yet another reroll. It looks like luck is at least favouring them in that respect.
If you're receiving, you want your good players on the front line because they're going to be the ones who have these good initial blocks. So you don't want your loners here. You want to keep your rerolls available to you so you can get arm breaks like this.
Kablamo!
So that's going to be stunned. That's a Skaven that can't contest your... I don't know how they're going to play that. I think that's a really good ball position. They might just cage up. It's very rare you see the elf cage up come through. I don't know. Part of me wants to say they cage up because I was thinking they could, with the man advantage, they could outbrawl. But these Skaven are very potent. They have good stats on a good number of their players. I don't know if the cage forms up, it goes well for them. But at least they have the option of doing so. They'll bring a load of men around the ball and probably go for a... I don't know, actually. Their positioning is weird. Because the ball is so far forward. They're not... Usually what you have is this sort of front crushed through, and you have the man in the back with the ball. But right now they just have it in a cage because it's so far forward. They can't really do anything else with it.
So it now passes across to Connor Dura to see what they're going to do about this Elven offensive line advancing forward while having support over on the right-hand side for a potential passing play. As we noted, these gutter runners are not very strong. While they can dodge around with impunity, and that's exactly what's going to happen here from Plague Master getting into the backside, we will have at least the hit on to Alphasaurus Rex. It looks like it's going to be just the push away, though, so the Skaven, they don't make any progress towards actually getting onto the ball carrier.
But they have sort of locked him out of field positioning. You can see how deep you said Plague Master got. That sort of shuts out a lot of the potential of swinging the ball back across the right side of the pitch, where now you have to use your blitz or other resources in dealing with extra gutter runner, or you have to go further back around to avoid him, which is probably not what you want to be doing as a self side right now. So the only way really the Elves have is forwards. I'm not entirely sure the best way of getting this ball up is there is available spaces across the edge of the pitch right now, but there's not really an opportunity to bring that many players through it to get any player that goes that way to safety.
Yeah, it's good defensive formation from Connor Dura here, making these two little dominoes here to make sure that the forward advance is only minimal. That will be an armor break onto one of those loner line rats. But you're right, at the end of it, we're looking at a Dark Elven team who've ended up exactly where they started in terms of getting up the pitch. They've got, they have got 4 more turns to get up there, but if they're only taking out 1 rat per turn, that doesn't seem like that math is going to work out too well.
Yeah, and even if the gutter runners do only have strength 2, they have a lot of good balls, block skills even, where they can, with some help, absolutely outpower these elves. So if this cage stands, I don't know if it will be standing for long.
Of course, we can't ignore as well, we've got right at the back Sven Verminfur with strip ball, as, wait a second, we're getting a very early foul coming in. It is going to be well assisted. Elfin Safety Nightmare is KO'd off of the pitch. Nice move there, and no send-off either.
Absolutely. So that's another elf that you have removed from the pitch that could potentially be used to crack this play open. They don't have any men far enough forward where you can do that sort of handoff pass combination to score the miracle touch. And they're bringing players down this sort of one tile gutter that has been left open on the left here, but I don't know that they can get the cage going, which they would need to. I don't know how much the ball carrier can move is the main thing. They can at least form up where he would go. They can make some number of dodge rolls and go for it to get him into safety.
Yes, it's a little awkward. We are going to be seeing the run-up, and those go for it do
problem.
not go well. There is a reroll available. Let's see. It will lead to only one space into the cage. The handoff to a loner. Gaslaw is successful, but that's an awkward setup. A loose cage at best. The ball carrier, a clear line through to them.
Yeah, but okay, the thing is, even if there is a clean line, you can only really get one player on top of the ball carrier, and again, the elves are not the Skaven are not known for being particularly strong in that 1v1. So I think it might be safe enough where the ball carrier will stay upright, and even if they have loner, they don't need to make, or at least shouldn't need to make too many rolls to get touchdown from there.
Well, it felt like it was very important that Eltherin, one of the journeyman Dark Elven Lightman, was able to get in there and kind of cut off a lot of the route, because we've still got Verminfur with a strip ball able to get in, as we do see the sneak around Torsten.
Just go around the back. Torsten got a mage, yeah. Oh, okay, so they're actually able to get more men on top of the ball carrier than I thought. They'll have to burn the reroll and go for it. But they get the one dice block, and it's only a shove, though.
The strip ball. Where's it going to go? It's fallen beside, so that's going to at least force a pickup. Not ideal, I think.
Oh, wait, that's fine. If you're the elf side, you're happy with this. The ball is on the field, sure, but you can now grab it, and because it's not adjacent to any Skaven, there's a good chance they're able to just move it straight back out again, get a handoff or a pass or something, and score a touchdown. Granted, they are sort of being kettled in right now by all of these Skaven, so I don't know how many. If they can get playlist, but we require a few good dodge rolls.
So it comes down to Swaggermuffin in this last part of the first half.
Never mind. You just use that block. Open up the left side of the pitch. Just make this pickup, and that's a free touchdown.
There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's 1-1. We've still got time. We know we still have time for a third touchdown in the first half. You know you want to give it to us. But who will be the one to take it? Conadura receiving on the Skaven squad. I believe there's still a couple of turns left, so we may not even need that one-turn touchdown style that the Jets made famous in the previous game.
Yeah, wait for the pick. Okay, if they have 2 turns, it's going to be enough to set up for a 2-turn play. I was going to say the 1 turn is a lot less likely because, again, the elf side does have kick. They have a reasonable chance of putting the ball deep in the enemy field where they can't realistically make that sort of play, but they're definitely looking to stack up like they want to make this sort of 1-turn, 2-turn play where you can see they're overloading the left side of the pitch right now.
Alright, so yes, the kick and just a little bit of extra wind. Let's see where it ends up going. Actually pretty much landing directly next to Rathbone, the thrower there, as the line of scrimmage elves will get slapped around, getting it pushed aside. There isn't a big opening down the center of the pitch to make a run, though the Skaven need to be careful not to block themselves off from moving down it.
They should be fine. Yeah, they've got one man in there that is Plague Master, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, the man who's a very real potential of making level 4 by the end of playoffs right now. They have. The problem is with the thrower picking up the ball, you need to pass to a gutter runner and then have the gutter runner make it to the other gutter runner to score the touchdown. Actually, with this field positioning, they've cracked enough holes in the middle of the pitch that that's a very reasonable shout for making that happen.
Yeah, big question. Well, with Conadura, it does have the reroll left available as another good hit through from one of the Lime Rats will knock out one of the elves.
That was only one of the journeymen, though. That's not too bad for Blitz or thing. They lose a man, but it's not one of the particularly relevant players. So that's just a question of... they might pass here. Okay, they're not going to.
It's conservative play. I think moving the ball forward certainly makes it a lot more vulnerable to being stolen away by Swaggermuffin's Dark Elves, as the return blocks will be coming back in. There is Corpit put down on the map. We have got a few Skaven in position to get aggressed onto. Harold Blackwisp, that Whisker trying to hold the center and keep these gutter runners safe.
Yeah, what I'm worried about right now is there's enough elves where that's not the way I would be sending them. I would be sending them forwards to try and sort of limit the options that the ball can move through. Because, yeah, you bring the players across to the centre here, but they can just move diagonally down to the left. Or down to the right. There's a lot of space for these Skaven to work into. What I would be doing is trying to limit the options the ball has, where you can get towards the ball carrier, stop the pass from coming through, and if you can stop the pass, you essentially shut down any chance they have of making a touchdown in the first instance. They've got the Skaven surrounded to an extent. With one good block, one of them gets open, and that's all you need.
Well, there's a good block coming through, and partially opening the route here for Gutter Mage maybe to move down this way. If the...
Yeah, that's only one dodge roll, and that's one dodge roll into an uncontested space. They'll be able to bring the ball down here, make the pass.
Oh, not make the pass.
Never mind.
Oh, that's... Oh. You think you can rely on someone, and it turns out when you start bringing Agility 3 players into the equation, suddenly things get a lot less reliable as the ball is picked up by Blitz or nothing. Our dreams of seeing a third goal, or third touchdown this half, will be rudely interrupted, but hey, going into the second half 1-1?
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Maybe a little lower than I personally expected, but it's a very good scoreline for both of these teams. Now it's just a question of how many goals do we see in the second half, because, well, you've seen what both sides can do in terms of shenanigans so far, and we'll see more of it as we go forwards.
Alright, so we did have the KO recovery, so that's going to mean that ultimately, yep, just going to confirm that no players from either squad are off the pitch for the second half, at least to start things off. The receivers this time will be the Dark Elves, so all they really need to do at this point is just make a solid score and not give Conadura anything but that one-turn touchdown to rely upon.
So I think that's brave.
Oof. That was a loner who was picking up the ball and throwing it there. That could have gone quite awfully.
You have men you haven't moved, and you're taking 2 red dice blocks.
What is going on? I think
the Swagamuffin has in fact forgotten about the entirety of the right side of his pitch.
That was very strange. That was a dodge into 2 tackle zones and then a blitz. Okay, well, Swagamuffin's ball carrier is now relatively open.
He still has the man in front of him. He's not completely exposed, but at the same time, he's still very exposed because they can just go around the back.
That's what they're going to do. Bringing the assist in. And another rat as well, just to try and make clear how much Conadura thinks they can get into the Dark Elven formation. We have, of course, got the strip ball still in play from one of the gutter runners. We'll be seeing, of course, the most experienced gutter runner, Plague Master, moving in there. We've got the block. Unfortunately, the ball carrier, Elf number 9, does not have block. Will get knocked down. Where's that ball going to go? Oh!
Takes itself straight into the hands of, I believe that is actually Vermin Fur as well.
Yep, very hard to put down.
That's Plague Master. Yeah, that is absolutely... I mean, it's reasonable that they would get control of the ball there. It was left very open, but the fact that it lands in Plague Master's hand, I think it bodes extremely well for the Jorvik Jets. This should probably be a touchdown here for them, unless a miracle block can come through. Just taking durable red tackle dice at the start of his turn. It's very brave here from Blitz or nothing. They need to make something happen here and try it, throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're in real desperation mode from the very start of the second half. The Dark Elves not able to break through this central line of Skaven that are leading the path towards the touchdown. Only managed to get one knockdown. The rest of the Dark Elves coming in at speed from either side, but there's no closure as of yet of that left-hand passage. Should be pretty trivial for Conadura to run down it if they think they can survive a turn afterwards.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at where these gutter runners are, because there's a very good chance we do see the old whoops touchdown. Manj isn't a massive level 3 Gutter runner, but he's definitely capable of making a run from there. It's a question of can they get the ball to him this turn, or are they going to take 2 turns to do it?
First block goes pretty well. So that's a good amount of space opened up here. Eltherin and Gaethalt, the 2 loners, the 2 journeyman linemen for the Dark Elves. Anyone's really stopping the advance of the Skaven team. It's looking like we will see the way cleared, so a path down towards the end zone. We have got Gutter Mange, who I think hasn't got the SVP, or as many SVP as the rest of their Gutter Runner fellows, ready to receive and get those touchdowns a-flowing.
Absolutely. With that shove, actually. Hello. You want to see some... Oh, he's taking a step back. What a coward. Oh, wait, never mind. I don't know why he took the step back, and then... Either way, there's your handoff. He has enough movement to make that. I'm sure of it. Yeah, he does. That's the second touchdown there, going the way of Conager and the Jovic Jets. And, well, I mean, the Elves will have a chance to re-rack and go again, but it's not looking good for them based on the way that those first few turns went.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity here for the Dark Elven team. I do not know what happened at the beginning of there. Just suddenly seems to switch to a much, much riskier style and really just didn't pay off them at all, especially with all those loners. And now with no rerolls left for the Dark Elven team at all, any bad dice at this point are going to be disastrous. I really hope we see the return of the more considered style for the rest of the game to at least get a 2-2 lockup.
Absolutely. I mean, like, again, they're still elves, they can still elf shenanigans, even though they don't have the rerolls. Well, there's an extra one going for them.
I think that's the 3rd one they've gotten so far this game, so...
Yeah, you know, you have good coaches, you get extra rerolls. Actually, that's a very good ball position. It was a 5+. I don't hate that pickup attempt.
Oof.
No, this is fine. Maybe not the player I would use to pick up the ball. I would have used maybe one of the backline men to do it. But you absolutely have space down this right side of the pitch. You can just rush this ball down and potentially play for a win here. I do like this on the side of Blitz because they do need wins coming in this season. They can't just play for a draw. They do need to go big, and they're definitely trying to right here.
There's a dodge going poorly. The reroll has already been burned, so... Yeah, the rest of the Dark Elven team not moved from its initial positions. The ball carrier widely exposed. I mean,
I like the idea, but the execution was off. It's you need to take your risk-free moves, which is all of your players that aren't currently marked in the back, move them up the pitch so they can help with this sort of. I do like the attempt here. I do like the idea of, okay, I have the ball in a good position. I'm just going to shove it up this right side of the field and try and reset the field and go for this miracle 2 touchdown play. But again, because you had to burn the reroll and then took a dodge when you perhaps didn't need to, you just sort of leave yourself very exposed here. The ball will drop into the not quite the open claws of the Skaven, but it's going to be left in no man's land for the immediate time being.
I think we could see a scoop up here. Yes. Ooh.
No.
Apparently agility 4, not as good as picking up balls as maybe you would have thought.
I wouldn't have burned the reroll there. Like, what do you get? Oh, we can pull the ball back, I suppose, but like leaving the ball like down or in the field, or even if it falls off the pitch, I think that's fine if you're the Skaven. You give up the turn, sure, but what else are you doing? You're getting punched in the face because you go for one nice block on a man with no skills.
Alright, so Skaven back in control. I mean, it felt like the Dark Elves, maybe letting their haste get ahead of them a little bit there, with not moving up the rest of the team to support. I think maybe giving up a few more spaces of advancement in exchange for a little bit more safety could have been the key. But now they're faced with the daunting prospect of getting the ball back off of the gutter runners. At least the player holding the ball right now, Sven Verminfur, doesn't have block. So that's something, but we have to know that it could easily end up in the hands of someone who does, as we see Elfin Nightmare get KO'd.
See it. He was trying to...
Apothecary to KO?
This like in the game. I don't hate it, but I don't...
I was going to say, like, I feel like you're about to say I don't hate it. I do. I think that's very risky, and especially when we're about to start seeing more pressure being put onto the Dark Elves. It does keep the player on the pitch.
Yes, that's why I'm thinking I'm not like the worst. He's getting knocked off the pitch. The KO doesn't matter too much. You need to play for the win. You need 2 touchdowns right now. The only way you're doing it is keeping players on the pitch. I probably would have taken the KO, but I could definitely see re-rolling that KO just to keep your man alive and try and, again, keep him in a position where he can get on the ball carrier, knock it out, get that touchdown, go for the second one as quickly as possible.
So that was Rando getting KO'd there. So still got a decent amount of players in contention. Ultimately, Elfin Safety Nightmare's been left in a pretty prime position to put some pressure onto that ball carrier with assistance from the other Dark Elves. As you mentioned before, we'd like to see from Swagamuffin trying to bring in some of these assists and extra players before going for these more high risk, high reward plays, which so far haven't really turned out in their favour.
Yeah. I don't know what I can do here because of the sort of priority they're taking on the turns. They got a lot of players just stood in the middle of nowhere doing nothing, and I feel like they're too far away to really contest the ball carrier at this point. And as much as I hate to say it, I think this might just be another touchdown for Conajura, given the way he's been able to reset the ball. You can see how stacked he is going towards this run. His only hope is a miracle blitz.
That is one of the gutter runners with block and dodge.
I thought he was going deeper with that, and he just sort of knocked a man back. He is in good positioning, but again, you need to get on top of this ball carrier, and don't think they're able to do it right now. And I think that is, in fact, just a free touchdown at this point.
I have to think from Swagamuffin's side of things, from the way that they're playing there, that they're not really trying to stop the Skaven from scoring at this point. I mean, we've seen how quickly it can happen, but maybe just to accelerate that score and give themselves another chance of getting back into the game.
That's true. There is 3 turns left. They are elves. There is a very good potential. They could just go for the... Can elves do 1-turn touchdown drill base? I don't know, actually.
It's the less movement you have, the less likely it is.
Yes.
I think it's always possible, with movement 7 and above. It's just, with movement 9, like the Skaven have, that's your best shot at doing it. As we've got an advance up here from Plague Master, the most experienced of the gutter runners, getting well into position to go for that score. Currently the ball in the hands of Sven.
I think that's I think they just bring the players up to where the ball carrier will go, and then they'll move the ball carrier into the position.
I think it's going to be a handoff.
Yeah, they'll make the handoff to the player in the cage. No, they'll... Well, I mean, he's in the cage. There's no way an elf can get there.
I do kind of like that, though, because one of the things that's been notable about the Jets is that while the gutter runners have been very good as... that extremely risky dodge goes bad immediately. The gutter runners for the Jets have been extremely well developed, but their storm vermin, who are kind of the other part of the equation, have not been. So with that score, that will be a leveled up storm vermin, mighty blow or guard in that big old rat's future.
Absolutely. So that's going to be good progression there for the Jorvik Jets. And what is that now? 3-0? 3-1, excuse me. I don't want to say it's the game, but you have to admit it's looking very convincing that they are going to win.
I think the first thing is going to be getting a good kickoff result here for Blitz or Nothing. Either another reroll to make that number 4 they've accrued in addition to this game, or a riot to push the clock back and give them more space. That's not the kickoff result they were looking for. Blitz or Nothing going to have their initial setup messed with. And I think, the Rats probably going to move forward and make some aggressive overtures towards where the ball's going to land.
I think they might just build up the line of scrimmage, because you can see where the elves are here. They can just sort of set up on these flanks. And when... So, there's not enough damage. They don't have access to one blitz. They don't have 3-man line of scrimmage. The Skaven know it's safe to set up this far forward now. So what they can do is set up like this. Once the Blitz or Nothing take the ball, they can then just bring all the Skaven forwards and try and punch the ball carrier out again. And potentially, I'm going to be real, they could potentially score another touchdown off that kickoff result.
So with no re-rolls, at least the loner picking up the ball is just as valid as any other player, I suppose. 2 turns left to play. The Dark Elves could really use to get a player deep into the Skaven half to enable at least some kind of miracle score.
Yeah, the other uptick of stacking on this line of scrimmage, though, is that you now have tackle zones all the way across the line of scrimmage, and there's not really anywhere you can start just funneling through elves.
Okay, so one block does at least get rid of, well, at least pushes aside one of the line of scrimmage rats, but as we see, That's not really got the Dark Elves anywhere. They don't use their Blitz ultimately. Yes, I missed that somewhere along the way. And now the Skaven have a chance to go after the ball carrier once again. They've only got themselves 2 turns, but as we see, those gutter runners, oh, they are so very, very quick.
Yep, that's one on top of the ball carrier. There's a potential of, I believe that is Plague Master again, can get on the ball. Not that one, the one directly above him, basically. I mean, there's got a man. Oh, it's not even going to be. It's going to be a Storm Vermin going up the field. That's Bjorn Irontail who's got himself a level. And an injury, you hate to see it.
It's only badly hurt, so Bjorn will live to enjoy that extra level. But yes, that could have been pretty disastrous if that had been a leveled Storm Vermin to then have him die as the the dodge goes instantly awry, leaving the ball at the feet of our good friend. Let's check and see it. It's going to be Gutter Mange who's right next to the ball to pick it up. The unleveled or previously unleveled Gutter Runner.
No, that's a touchdown. If he makes the ball pick up, that is a touchdown. He is more than in range of the end zone, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a touchdown.
Or is it?
Reroll. You re-roll here. It's the last turn of the game, and it is in fact going to be the miracle 4-1 from the Jorvik Jets. They have just completely dominated this game through superior field positioning, and they have just I think I want to see field positioning for this game because I feel like the Jorvik Jets spent more time with the ball in their own half, in their opponent's half than Blitzkrieg had the ball in general.
Well, we can actually find out the specific numbers there as we see, of course, we got those 4 touchdowns, not very many armor breaks at all.
Not punchy teams, that doesn't surprise me. Like, you saw like the number of blocks compared to last game, right? These teams were not punching each other, they were punching, like, the low armor values mean they're probably breaking armor more than the previous game, but the amount of times they're punching is significantly lower, you can see there. As, 37 ball occupation for Blitz and nothing, 30% occupation of opponents' half for the Jorvik Jets. They spent as much time with the ball in their opponent's half and Blitz and nothing had the ball in general. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the yards running as well, literally triple the yards ran by Jorvik Jets than Blitz or nothing. Just, it's a real shame because the second half really went absolutely disastrously for the Dark Elves when they played the previous half pretty darn well.
Yeah, the first half was clean. I don't know what particularly happened or what Blitz Nothing was was trying to achieve with that second half. He was going for some very risky plays, and obviously they just didn't end up paying out. There were some rolls that perhaps should have went his way. There were some dodges that he definitely got unlucky on, but the superior play from Jorvik Jets definitely shone through at the end there.
Let's take a look at what the SVP ended up with. 14 on Torsten Guttermange. What?
So, just to clarify, that's the man who scored the one-turn touchdown in the last game for the Jorvik Jets. He now has 14 I think he's level 3. Let me just find his sheet real quick. He came into that at 3 plus 4. Yeah, he's 17 SPP. He's gone from level 1 to level 3.
Wow. I mean, what a reward for the player who turned around the fortunes of the Jorvik Jets single-pointedly, I suppose.
Hey.
Yes, that felt like an extremely unnecessary pun. But yeah, that's massive. And of course, we've got Irontail as well, Bjorn Irontail leveling up as well. This is a Jets team who, were coming from the bottom of the table, who've now got, incredibly powerful Gutter Runners. They've now got a decent Storm Vermin as well. They are positioned to really give a challenge towards some of these top table teams in the last 2 weeks of the season.
Like, they now have 2 level 3 Gutter Runners, 2 level 2 Gutter Runners, a level 2 Storm Vermin. Aki Rathbone's very good potential leveling up as well. He's at 3 SPP. If he gets a decent couple of games towards playoffs, he's absolutely going to get leveled up as well. This Jorvik Jets side is making so much good progression right now. They have a good chunk of cash in the bank as well, should they want to pick up some replacement players. They are very well set to make a good run towards playoffs. I'll be real, I genuinely think might make playoffs.
Yeah, it's looking more and more likely it's going to be down to the next 2 weeks. The Skaven team's, of course, notorious for falling to pieces under pressure, and they're only going to face tougher and tougher teams in these last 2 weeks. But that's going to be the second of our 3 matches here tonight, covering the Newels week number 5. We've got just one more match less this evening. Kirby, Who's it gonna be?
Well, it is, in fact, that top of the table tussle, as you alluded to at the start of the broadcast. Masterful, OYBBL represent on this Khemri side, has been absolutely unstoppable, conceding no touchdowns, winning 4 in a row thus far, seems to be far and away the leaders. His challenges this week are Mystery Inc., coached by Hogdu Scott, the Undead side playing into the Khemri. So sort of a stylistic matchup going on there. Currently, Mystery Inc. is sat at 3 wins, 1 draw, so technically undefeated as well. But could he be the one to finally break Masterful's undefeated streak, or will he go on to maintain the clean streak going forwards towards the end of the playoffs?
Alright guys, so we'll be going to a very short break before you bring you that headline match. Could it be the end of the streak? We'll find out momentarily. Khemri taking to the field. Headlines coming up.
What's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Father. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this ride. It's what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time starts still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made us out. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Father.
Welcome to the main event of the evening. Our coverage of week number 5 concludes with our top of the table clash. Will we see Masterful finally knocked off their undefeated streak that they've held onto since the start of the competition? Kirby, do you think Hogdu Scott is the coach and this the team Mystery Inc. who can finally put pay to these pesky Khemri?
Well, there is a good chance it will happen. Obviously, Undead and Khemri are thematically very similar. They have 2 Guardians and Mummies. They both have options of skeletons and zombies as players. In theory, they are very similar. The edge I think that Mystery Inc. has in this matchup, though, is that because they're Undead, they have active ghouls. Ghouls are sort of the typical agility role players, where they have move 7, agi 3, agi 4, going off the top of my head here. Mystery Inc. have agility. Okay, they have agility 3 base ghouls, but they have Scrappy Doo, who's currently a level 3 ghoul who has that 4th point of agility and still movement 7. If Mr. Inc. are able to get control of the ball and are able to maneuver up the pitch, they have the burst option of just having Scrappy Doo make that run through a couple of dodge zones and scoring those touchdowns that will win them the game. Obviously, on the other side, though, Masterful has shown mastery of the pitch in all senses, in that he's able to just shut out entire teams from playmaking in general. He will take the ball, he will slowly lumber it up the pitch, he will stall out the game for infinity turns, it feels like. He will play the world's slowest game of Blood Bowl, and it will work every single time, it feels like.
Yeah, not conceding a single touchdown so far, let alone losing a single game. The ancient family of grandma, auntie, uncle, and grandpa, the 4 Tomb Guardians, have been exceptional so far. We've got Mighty Blow for grandma, Guard for auntie, the rest of the Tomb Guardians just waiting to level up just a little bit more and become even more powerful. But 4 big guys, when we've got, with the undead team effectively having 2 Tomb Guardians in their mummies, I don't know how you compete with just that raw power that Masterful is going to be able to bring to the front line.
Well, you can do so by superior positioning. Yes, Masterful is going to be very hard, but the advantage that the mummies of Mr. Inc. currently have over the Tomb Guardians is these mummies have leveled up and they've opted for Guard as their option, which means they can use their presence to sort of amplify the blocks of the rest of the team. Currently, the inside of OIBR does not have that available to them so far. They've opted for the Mighty Blows and the dodge on the throw raw. So there's a good chance that with some decent positioning and some decent rolls, they do need to get a little bit lucky to bring these players down. Mr. Inc. can win a brawl. And again, they have the ghoul options where they have the move 7 boys. They can just make these miracle plays should they need.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out for the ghouls. Certainly, Hogdude has gone pretty heavy into the whole idea of, of developing these ghouls as ball carriers and also other kind of, utility on the team. But with armor value 7 and no apothecary, they have got a pretty big target strapped to the backs as we're going to be playing in Sheffield Stadium for our last game of the day. OIBBL undefeated so far, not conceding even a single touchdown. Hogdude, the latest in the line of challenges for the throne. We know the Masterful is going to make playoffs at this point, but what would it mean for a team to be the one who managed to beat them before they got there?
It would be absolutely incredible, not just for the victory bonuses and probably locking yourself in for playoffs as well at this point in time, but also the advancements for the players, because there's a very deep roster that Mr. Inc. is running right now due to recent acquisitions of Strong Arm Sven from the Svensters and an extra ghoul in Scooby. They have a good chunk of players that need some levels on them to be viable in certainly the playoffs if the Mr. Inc. do make them, which they are slated to do so currently. So obviously looking to get a good win here and a lot of advancements on their players as we see it will be OIBBL kicking for this first half.
Alright, so you noticed before, we've got the Mighty Blow Guard mummies, very, very strong pieces for Hogdude Scott. That Mighty Blow is only present on a couple of other places. We've got the Blitzra Magic Mike and Ancient Grandma, who of course comes with the prerequisite curse of the Ancient Grandma. Don't foul her, or you're going to end up having a very bad time.
One thing I will say as well, with the mummies having a Mighty Blow, the Khemri side only has access to skeletons as linemen, whereas the undead side have both skeletons and zombies, and I think they have them in equal measure in their dugout. But skeletons only have armor value 7. With Mighty Blow, that's effectively armor 6, so there's a better than half chance that your armor is getting broken if you are getting punched by a Mighty Blow player. So they could go down and stay down. Yes, they have regeneration, but that's not going to stop you getting stunned or removed from the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very crucial how these initial blocks go to give the undead team a numbers advantage. It's still going to be a huge ask, even going through the skeletons as we expect them to here, to still break through that massive line of Tomb Guardians. Of course, we've got the ghouls, one of them actually being left off the pitch for this half because of just trying to avoid, I suppose, them getting injured. But we have got that AG4 ghoul, the exceptional ball carrier that is Scrappy Doo, with block and AG up, catches the ball easily.
Absolutely, and that isn't only I believe that's a skeleton off the pitch. Wow, that's a lot faster than I thought it was going to happen.
That's badly hurt for Dirty Dave, getting taken out, just as you said. The regeneration does kick in, though. So that's going to really, affect... Well, it will affect the game longer term, but for now, numbers in a Mystery Inc.'s favour.
Yeah, that's the exact problem we're talking about with Skeletons, where they go down, and yet now suddenly you're a man less on the pitch, and that Masterful has been winning games, playing up the pitch, sort of slowly dragging the ball upfield. We see another stun, that's another man that's not on the floor, they can't contest these goals. This is exactly how Mystery Inc. need to play this game to get the victory, and so far it's gone very well for them.
Yeah, we're looking every single time to see how our coaches approach the problem that is Masterful. How they deal with all of that success so far, as we will see a marking zombie in Demon Kit moving in there to try and tie up Ancient Uncle. Of course, while both of the Tomb Guardians and the Mummies do have regeneration, only the Tomb Guardians have decay, so if things start going badly for Masterful here, there's a possibility those hugely important players could end up decaying, failing a regeneration, and quite possibly getting taken out long term.
Absolutely, it's a very terrifying prospect if you are Masterful. It's something you have to be aware of. That's a very awkward triple dice. The problem with not having block on your Tomb Guardians is that they are still vulnerable to those double skulls. But at least they are able to burn and reroll.
Yeah, we're looking a lot to see our Mummies and Tomb Guardians being set up with 2 assists, which will let them get those 3 dice blocks to make up for that lack of block they've got right now. So you're seeing a blitz coming in from Ancient Uncle? No, Ancient Grandma with the Mighty Blow.
Ancient Grandma with the Mighty Blow.
Donk.
Not going to come into effect this time, but that's at least a mummy down. So it's, again, you need the mummies up so they can give the guard to the team, and if they're on the floor, they're not really helping in blocks. So that's, he's able to stand back up. He's not going to move forwards. I think they're going to try and cage the ball here. Yeah, they'll play towards slightly this right side and try and get a hole in Masterful's defense. Not that's going to come easily.
Clonked!
He says.
Eyeless Eric going to get taken to the mat. That is just a basic skeleton, though. So one of the differences between the Tomb Guardians and the Mummies, which initially doesn't seem like there's very many, but there is a difference of 4 movement for the Tomb Guardians versus 3 for the Mummies, which means if a Mummy gets knocked over, they can only stand up in place without using a going for it. Whereas the Tomb Guardians can at least get back into position.
But the Mummies also start with Mighty Blow, and we've gone on at length in various broadcasts about how good Mighty Blow is at knocking out skeletons, as we have seen.
Yeah, so far, I mean, well, it's gone pretty well for Hogdude up until this point. But now, having got past that initial line of Khemri players, they have met the second line, which is the Tomb Guardians, and it is going to mean we're getting some hits back, as we will see the knockdown and stun onto one of the zombies. Demon Kiss taken down. I still don't know if a direct into the face of Masterful's team is the right move here.
If you're able to position your Mummies where you can use that guard to set yourself up for some better than expected blocks, then you absolutely can do so. Because again, the Mummies, the Tomb Guardians have that decay, the Skeletons don't have that much arms to play with. If you can get them down, there's a good chance they will stay down. Getting those blocks into someone like Masterful is an extremely hard ask.
Well, the ideal situation here is to get those 2 guards together, because once you've got a player receiving 2 guard assists, you're equal, you've managed to get an equal amount of strength with the Guardians. Unfortunately, we have got Mummy there, Ancient Auntie with guard, making that a little bit tricky. We do get, I think we're actually going to get a, 2 red dice block, both pushed. That gets rid of a non-2
Shaggy Rogers has block, so if you have block, making those 2 red dice blocks is only like a third chance of it going wrong. It's bad, but it's not as bad as you would think it would be. So you're already able to get the shove away. Just buy yourself some time from the Mummies on their attacking turns. Force them to use the blitz if they want to do that. And just generally buy yourself some time, because you want to be punching the Tomb Guardians, but you don't want to be punched by them.
Okay, I think I know what's going on here, Kirby.
Go on.
So initially, I had my worries about what Hogdu Scott is going for, which is really just to kind of to really grab hold of Masterful's team. And we've got the center here. We've got this huge clump of Tomb Guardians and Mummies. I think this is a ploy by Hogdu Scott. These Tomb Guardians, they do not move quickly. They are fully entrenched. Velma, the Immortal, don't you dare prove me wrong, Velma. Loses 1 point armor value.
Wait for it.
Fails regeneration.
Oh!
No! Okay, my point still stands. Is that the Tomb Guardians, they are now entrenched with the undead team. If the ghouls go round the outside now, I don't know if the Khemri team will be able to keep up with them.
They can from this position. They need to get them to one side of the pitch, I think, because currently right now they're in the centre. You need to spend a few movements moving to either side of the pitch, and then moving up the pitch and then to the side. You don't have the option of running right past them right now. You need to either get them to commit more or commit to... Well, I guess you could just send a man back and try and make a pass play to him, but he's just going to get marked up immediately.
Yeah, it looks like a kind of split the difference. Yes, Dusky Dude, please do press F to pay respects to the ironically named Immortal Velma, who survived death before but couldn't survive minus AV, so I don't think we'll be seeing any more of Velma, as Demon Kiss will get KO'd as well. I think Hogdude's trying to fully engage with the Khemri team has been risky, even without the prevalence of Mighty Blow. I think they're starting to maybe bleed too many players.
Yes, it's got... They were looking okay.
Daphne!
Okay.
Daphne wants to join Velma.
Wait.
Oh no!
Wait, regen.
No! Daphne and Velma in one game. This is deeply upsetting.
Daphne is dead. And now the ball carrier has been marked up. Granted, with agility 4, there's a good chance he does break away, but it's gone very bad very quickly here. If we just get another armor break, it's only going to be a stun, but it's bad to worse here for Hogdude Scott, whose Mystery Ink side has just completely fallen apart at the seam. The ball carrier has now been entrenched in Tomb Guardian.
All right. Okay, well that's something.
He got his reroll, but I don't think burning a reroll is your priority right now. There's another armor break. What is going on?
Oh no! Oh no!
This is what Masterful is so good at, because now the ball is surrounded. You have no means of escape.
You've got to go for something crazy here. I think there is an escape route around this right-hand side, or maybe if you're really desperate to go around the left-hand side through a million tackle zones, but looks like the right-hand side will be the option here. So we've at least got the mark through. We know this is an agility 4 ghoul in Scrappy Doo, who's able to get some good distance down. Is block and dodge going forward, going for it, gets number 1. They're trying to get a buddy to follow, though. Doesn't work. That's a failed dodge on agility 3.
Yeah, but with those players down, Masterful can just blitz the ball carrier. He can bring up a Tomb Guardian. Wait, let me think. No, because he has to make agility rolls, and the Tomb Guardians cannot make agility rolls. They are actually 1, I believe. Yes.
I think that's a good chance. Hogdude's
got... That chain push doesn't actually do anything. It frees up a Tomb Guardian, but it's not the right one.
I think there's a very good chance that Hogdu Scott's going to score here, because they've got, Scrappy Doo is a block and dodge player with strength 3. I don't think there's going to be too much in the way of assists. Oh, never mind. There'll be at least 1 assist coming, but there's still going to be a decent chance. There's a reroll. If there's no knockdown, this is going to be the score for Hogdude, and there isn't a knockdown. Yeah,
but he's forced into a really bad position. You follow that. Okay, you go to there. That's actually an even better one. Where now you have to burn the blitz to at least get the ball carrier loose. You can only really take down one player adjacent to the ball carrier here, so he has to make dodge rolls. Granted, he is agility 4. He has dodge. He can do that, but it's decreasing the odds of him actually making this score.
Well, that's a pretty darn good knockover. She's gonna shove Magic Mike out of the way. Here we go, Scrappy Doo's making them run for it, and makes it! That's the first touchdown scored against Masterful in the entire season, and it came off of one of the most disastrous ends to a half possible.
The skin of his teeth is peeling off. He has grabbed it and got a touchdown. Oh, my lords. The problem is, you've dirtied Masterful's clean sheet. Congratulations. You now have to queue up against the Khemri sides once more with a couple players down, and we've seen what Masterful can do with the ball. I feel like even with 3 turns, he can maybe score a touchdown here.
Hey Pure Sounds, welcome to the stream. Do let me know if any of you guys watching would like any more explanation of what Blood Bowl is, because I suspect my main audience is not actually Blood Bowl players. But hey, what can you do? But yeah, we've got 3 turns left for Masterful to try and score. Even with the notoriously low agility throw Ras, potentially going to screw up picking up the ball. I think there's still a decent chance that Masterful manages to sneak a score in before this half ends.
It depends on the kick. You need a reasonable kick landing here, because if it goes too far back, obviously they are the Khemri. They don't have the movement allowance that could, bring the ball forward that quickly. But if it's a bit more forwards, and you can get the ball onto one of the throw Ras, like say sure as hell Henry, who has dot, they can just sort of play sort of a fast cage and bring the ball right the way up. They're setting up for it here. You can see everyone's on the line of scrimmage. They're looking to just make this sort of fast break off.
Masterful going to be getting the extra reroll. Not too shabby.
That's a fine kickoff as well. It's vaguely in front of the throw Ross. He's able to sort of move forward and pick up the ball at the same time. They can sort of collapse on the front line, try and get a few players down and a few skeletons back. Set yourself up so you can bring a cage on the side of the pitch, so on the next turn you can just run the ball straight upfield.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for Masterful to really put too much in their own backfield in case of a failed pickup. We do have the block knocking over one. I'd really love to see what could happen if the pickup does fail here, which I think is about a coin flip's worth of chance, or maybe better. No, I think it's about 75% chance of a successful pickup. Those ghouls can actually maybe find their way into the backfield and at least keep the ball from being moved up further.
Yeah, I'll be honest. If the pickup fails, I don't necessarily know that BBL can even score a touchdown here. Because, again, they are slow. They have 3 turns to work with, but they drop the ball, it's 2 turns, and I don't know. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. He has a reroll, but you hate to see double score.
Still, that's a pushback. That does mean that the flank is open. The crucial pickup coming in. And it's going to be picked up without even needing to show hands.
So he's able to move up. He should be relatively safe from ghouls. He's got a decent enough line where they'd have to make like 2 or 3 or 4 dodge rolls just to get through, let alone get to the ball carrier. So I'll take a turn blocking here, just try and punch some holes into the side of OYBBL and just see if they can maybe force an error from Masterful, try and get the ball dropped. Because if the ball drops, right, there's no chance of us scoring a touchdown, especially when the ball carriers marks up like this.
There we go. We have got Scrappy Doo breaking through the line. Nice play from Hogdude there to find a thread. Even if the blitz wasn't possible in the ball carrier, we do get a knockdown. Grandpa, we love you, but you've been KO'd. And that could mean, well, regeneration won't affect a KO. That could be one of the very few things that will actually keep a Tomb Guardian out of play.
Yeah, but it's, again, there's only a few turns left in this half, and it's a 50-50 chance of waking up from a KO every reset, so it's going to matter for this drive, but I don't think Ancient Grandpa was a key component of this drive in the first place. Lose a blitz, try and get Scrappy Doo off the ball carrier, and that shove will be enough to do it. They'll be able to move him up. Do they want to make a handoff play? I don't think they do. I think they're just going to stand up, form a loose cage around the ball carrier, and then score next turn with a go for it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they've got to make a handoff. I don't think they can physically get the ball to the end then.
They don't have to make a handoff, but they need to make go for it, at least. I think handoff is too risky. I think you win off like 2 or 3 go for it, and they're a lot safer because they only fail on 1.
Yes, that incredibly low agility is certainly going to hurt, and I think, it looks like you're right. It will be just those going for it. Will be protected as well by the extra player. So Scrappy Doo still feels like the best chance here, but there's no obvious player in position to hit that ball carrier.
It's just going to have to be dodges if he wants to go for it. Like, he can just spare turn of, okay, I'm continuing this touchdown. I'm just going to try and knock out some undead. But Like, you can go for that blitz, but it's not likely to succeed. The set tackle zones from Masterful have been excellent. Actually, with this knockdown, hello, wait a second. I knocked him down the wrong way, I think, but that's actually going to be not enough because the dodge fails and he doesn't have a reroll to burn.
That's unfortunate. Let's see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be... There's rerolls there for any fail. Going for it's not even going to be necessary. The equalizer goes through. That's going to be pretty disappointing for Hog Dude there. That was a pretty well played first half, but wasn't able to put up too much of a fight to stop the return touchdown.
Absolutely. So 1-1 going into the half. What important thing to see is if Ancient Grandpa wakes up. If he wakes up, then obviously Mr. Ink is staring down the barrel of probably another touchdown because no, it is we're receiving this half, isn't it?
Oh, there
so
we go.
They're going to be receiving the ball, and he's woken up. So there's a very good chance they just get steamrolled here.
Guess who's not waking up? It's those... Oh, no, wait. I take you back to the last very late waking up there. But Daphne and Velma will awake no more. Cruelly, they have been taken from us. And that's still a major numbers disadvantage. I think that's really what kept Hogdo Scott kept in the middle of the pitch, is they just don't have the numbers to keep the Khemri team from encircling them.
Absolutely. I'd be surprised to see any major formation changes. I'll probably shove a few men around just to try and get a good line of scrimmage here. But what I imagine is going to happen is a very similar kickoff to the one we saw prior, where they received the ball and you sort of shove it upfield at their own leisure. They have more time to do it this time, so probably not going to see that sort of risky play where they just send up the skeleton on his lonesome. They'll do the typical Masterful style of just have a cage, move up a couple squares at a time if they're able to do so. If not, that's fine. We have time to work with. We can wait. And we're just going to shut out the entire Mr. Ink side.
Well, that's a nice kickoff result. Will allow for that ball to probably go into the hands of sure as hell Khemri. That's a free attempt to catch the ball. So we're looking at a very different situation here in a world in which Masterful's ball pickups go successfully, as the line of scrimmage will, of course, get minced through. But I'm still looking out for that, 25% chance of disaster for Masterful. No matter how you swing it, there's still always the chance that the pickup goes bad. You've got sure hands already, so rerolls aren't going to help you any further. You just have to trust it won't happen.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, the rest of the field is sort of shutting down the entire undead side at this point in time. As long as you do the pickup last, which I feel like Masterful sequencing is good enough that he will just do that every time. You fail the pickup, cause turnover, okay, you don't lose anything. The ball stays in the backfield. That's fine. You just can try again next turn. That fails. You still have turns to work with. It's very typical slow play from Masterful that works out so well for him.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case scenario here is a failed pickup that goes off of the pitch and ends up with the ball somewhere unpredictable. But you're right, the options are still pretty limited for Scott, as we've got, still the line of Tomb Guardians controlling the center of the pitch pretty darn well. We've still got Classy Charles covering the flank in case of any ghoul shenanigans. The pickup goes perfectly fine, not even needing a reroll.
So let's just bring him back to the safety of his skeleton friends. Just hold him in place, wait for sort of more opportune moments to bring the ball carried forward so he doesn't get immediately collapsed upon by ghouls. And we'll go from there. So that's just a question of how much punching can Hog and Scott do. Because I feel like to break the Masterful cage, you do need to punch the edges of it away. They'll try and get this Tomb Guardian down. No, it'll be a knockdown, so it won't be too effective, but this is sort of Masterful doing what he does best, where he just shows up the ball, puts it in safety, and says, you have to fight these Strength 5 Tomb Guardians, have fun.
Well, you've always got an Agility 4 ghoul for if you want a share of shenanigans from the other side of the equation, but just look how casually the ball carrier, sure as hell Harry, just walks past and says, I think you went a bit too far there, friend. You've left the path for me open.
So they'll just form the cage. They'll probably bring a few Tomb Guardians across to cover the edges. They'll have a few more blocks with the other Tomb Guardians. We'll do it again next turn. We'll do it again next turn. You see the game plan here, very quickly emerging. It's the same one that we've seen time and time again because it just works so well.
Oh boy, I'm still kind of... I don't think I've really seen that happen before, but that's a major misstep from Hogdu to have to send, Scrappy so far forward that he get pushed past us. John Cena gets knocked out of the competition. The numbers for...
He'll kick out, it's fine.
Well, not this half at least. I mean, they're not going to be back on the pitch for now. The mummies are getting surrounded. There's no way back in for Scrappy Doo. They're probably cut off from the ball for the rest of the game unless they can maybe shenanigans here and at least force a blitz out of Masterful.
Yeah, so... Well, it's getting on a break. It's not going to result in anything. Oh, okay, yeah. They need to... I'm trying to think how they can get in the ball carrier, because it's not a full cage. They only have skeletons on the back. At least they get an injury on to Handy Harry, so he'll be at least spending this game, or at least the remainder of this game, off the pitch. They're going for this blitz, pick away at the corner, and try and force some risky plays here for Masterful. Yeah, break certainly doesn't hurt.
Okay, so that's something. I guess at the moment this seems to be the best Hogdu can do under the circumstances. I think the main thing I'm not liking is the mummy of Anka, who is one of the best players for the team, is really far out of position for where the relevant part of the game is happening right now. As we have Scrappy Doo getting clobbered.
That's due to Masterful, right? Because he Scrappy is just badly hurt for his sake. Okay.
I couldn't take a third one of the mystery team getting slaughtered in this game. That would just be too much.
One of them isn't actually slaughtered. One of them's only injured.
Well, that's something. But yeah, no regen. Oh boy. I mean, yeah, we're getting a pretty good run towards the edge of the pitch. Who on earth can even catch at this point? I think Scooby-Doo. Avenge your brother! Cousin? I don't know what the relation is there, but...
Yeah. We don't have to know Scooby-Doo lore. All we need to know is that the entire Mystery Inc. side is taking a thorough beating at this point. The best play they had was to hold Scooby-Doo there and hope that the block on him went okay to the point where he's still able to stick to the ball carrier, if not get the ball loose. But unfortunately, because of that injury, the skeletons just go, okay, we're just going to waltz slowly but surely up the pitch once again. We'll probably see them do the thing where they stall out for the last few turns on the end of the pitch just to stop any chance of a return score from occurring. But I feel like at this point it is basically all she wrote here for Mystery Inc.
So we've got a ghoul dodge maybe over to here to go for a 2-die against. It's ultimately going to be a 1-die that turns into both down, both getting blocked, so even the remote possibility of managing to dodge into 2 tackle zones and somehow knock the ball carrier over is stripped away. I think I got the impression from the way Hogdu sculpted the blocks there, just trying desperately to get some extra SPP for the mummies, but it's not really moving them towards any possibility of salvaging the game.
I mean, you can't... Oh! He was a fresh hire!
And now he's dire!
He's a fresh fire! As in, he's fire!
Throw him in the fire! At least he'll probably smell and maybe even taste delicious. Who knows? Oh boy.
They're down to 5 players on the... Welcome to OIBBL. We punch you in the face, we whittle your numbers down, we box you in. This is your destiny. Please accept it. Granted, Mystery did get that 1 touchdown, but it feels like very slim pickings at this point in the time because they are paying for it by taking so many permanent injuries.
Yes, very much a poisoned chalice to be the first to break through and get that first touchdown. And of course, it does at least prove that it's possible. But yeah, at this point, there's a decent chance. Oh, hello. Cheeky Chris will get injured. Miss next game. Nope, never mind.
Just shrug it off, you're fine. Oh, I think that was Strong Arm Sven who did that injury as well. The fresh hire, the trade, shall we say, from the Spensters, who did end up losing his arms in that game, I would point out. He seems to have recovered them, though.
There's always spare arms to go around. Yes, Hogginator's going to put down Scooby-Dum. To have a player basically killed in the first game is pretty tough, as we do see the victory lap being taken here by sure as hell Khemri, just dancing up and down. Oh boy, the remaining players just getting annihilated through here. Another injury!
Wait. It's fine, he's an all-star. I was terrible. I like, even I have to like say no. There's limits, and I definitely crossed them there.
Oh, I think my brain refused to recognize that joke out of a sense of self-preservation.
That's fair.
Alright, so we got one player left standing. It is going to be Strong Arm Sven, who got that injury before. We've just got there's not enough players left for the Khemri to really meaningfully... Oh no, I'd take that back. Scooby-Doo is markable, is killable. It's probably going to get absolutely smushed given half the opportunity.
Absolutely. They're just setting up to take the box in the future turns. They're trying to fight their way out of this bad situation. And to be fair, they get another KO, so there's at least one less player to do the punching.
Alright, it's down to you. Wait, no, it's not Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, I thought might run up towards the ball carrier to attempt to at least...
No, there's no way he gets in range. The Masterful's going to be aware of that like risk and will be accounting for it. So he's just keeping him at a safe distance, which is as far away from the enemy as possible.
So at this point, given Masterful's gained a huge amount of SPP from all of the injuries in this game, despite conceding their first goal, they've pretty much come out of this quite far ahead of where they started.
Like, you concede a goal, right? You don't lose anything if you're conceding a goal, like, aside from the prestige of being scored, having that clean sheet, right? That's the only thing that they've lost this game. In terms of aggression, they've gained so much SPP. They'll gain a few extra points from touchdowns as well. They'll get the levels on some more of their key players. You can see that Blitzra is going to get his 3rd level. That's going to be huge. That's going to be... He's already got Mighty Blow, so probably get a guard on him. You know, just more skills that make this Khemri side that's already terrifying to play into even more terrifying to play in.
So at this point, yes, there's... The handing off is a possibility. When you've got the rerolls, then anyone is as competent a ball carrier as anybody else on the Khemri team, by which to mean to say is not very. But there we go, it's a handoff to... We'll check who that's going to be to... That's, of course, it's to the rookie blitzer, Classy Charles, so they'll be leveling up as well, and if they're anything like Magic Mike, we'll be getting a Mighty Blow to add to the punching power, which, as we see, is already pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're just taking big swing after big swing after big... Okay, if he makes that double go for it, they can force a block or a dodge roll that could potentially go badly. Oh, that is great. That is, I appreciate the attempt, but he's going to get stunned for his troubles. Oh. No, that was the miracle play. If you knock the ball out again, they have very low agility on this Khemri side. There's a chance they don't actually pick up the ball and you end up in a draw, which would be huge. Just like, I
think it was totally worth it.
Oh yeah, I was like, if that block works, that's game winning, or it's game drawing, like, technically. But that you count that as a win, especially against Masterful.
Yeah, I mean at this point. Certainly can't blame him for trying, though. Of all the players that you want to try that kind of maneuver with, the Ghouls with no regeneration and with AV7 certainly are the riskiest prospects you can really imagine.
But at the same time, with movement 7, Agi 3, they're sort of the only players that can make those sort of plays. You're sort of priced into doing it. And to be fair, it was a Blodge Ghoul as well, right? He's the best chance they had of making that sort of play.
Alright, so what have we got left? We've got the 2 mummies, and we are going to be seeing a 2 dice block onto, I believe, Ancient Grandpa. Will knock them down. No, won't knock them down. We'll only get the push in the end. Oof. Oh well, never mind. Still, I think we've still yet to see that decay negative trait come into play at all, as the final Khemri turn will consist merely of scoring 2-1. One more turn for Hog Dude to maybe not score, but at least take out some of that angst they've accrued during the game.
You see, the problem is, to get an injury roll, you need to knock the Tomb Guardians. To knock the Tomb Guardians down, you need to A, get through the strength of 5, B, deal with the excellent positioning that Matt exhibits throughout his gameplay. You're gonna struggle to do that. They have that one injury going for them. I believe that's only missed next game. They have the knockout, he's fine. Look at the dugout. Look at how full of bodies it is.
Hey, there we go. Some of our friends have returned to the pitch to join us for this final turn. Go on, Hog Dude. Give in to your anger. Give in to your hate. Give us some last turn fouls. You're doing everyone else a favour. Let me believe you.
Yeah, Masterful will only put his 3 skeletons forwards, and presumably that is going to be Albert, Chris, and Eric on the front line, who have no redeeming factors other than existing. I don't think they have any SPP between them, actually, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they are essentially they are worth as much as when they are high. Mr. Ing gets 1 free square of movement. Oh, you're going for the ball so you can make a pass.
Let's see. Scooby-Doo is relatively close to hitting... If they get another SPP, they'll be 1 score away from level 3, so that would be a second major ghoul threat. The team for Hog Dude, the ghouls do seem to have been a major factor for them. So 3-die block still fails to get a knockdown. Oof, that feels bad.
Yeah, they'll have an opportunity to make a blitz, but I think they are going for this pass route to get some SPP going. And there it goes.
It works.
Easy pass by Shaggy Rogers. That's some SPP for him. The last block will at least be a knockdown.
Oh,
it actually worked.
That's the second injury caused by Strong Arm Sven in this match. In their first match out after being acquired from the Norse team. The hot hire. Keep your eyes out for Strong Arm Sven going forwards.
Yep, and Smash Mouth will go for that Smash Mouth. And no, it's just a knockdown. Never mind. That will be the game. As expected, 2-1 to Masterful. OYBBL represent. Mystery Inc. did finally break that clean sheet of the side, but unfortunately then was just ground out to that 2-1 again by Masterful.
You look at the armor breaks, though, they are very even. Like, that was probably the closest Masterful seems to have come so far to a game that they conceivably could have lost.
I didn't feel like it in the second half, let me tell you.
No, I mean, it really did fall to pieces once those injuries came in. Let's check in on the SPP, because it felt like OYBBL represent came out of that one pretty darn well, and my gosh.
Quick maths, wait. 11, 15, 18... That's 21 SPP. That is ridiculous quantities of SPP for him. That is terrifying. A team that was already that far ahead getting that much SPP is that... I don't even want to think about what that's going to end up doing for the league. It puts him very far ahead, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, already having won the games before, you're getting a load of money and pretty much free access to SVP, but Grandma and Grandpa both getting injury SVP there, Class C Charles, Magic Mike, and the rest of the squad all picking up means that the Tomb Guardians are going to be so much more better supported. I mean, Mystery Inc. didn't do terribly on the SVP side of things. John Cena getting the MVP did level up, Scrappy Doo, Mummy getting 2 injuries, Strong Arm Sven with 2 injuries, and Shaggy Rogers with 1 SVP from passing, hoping to land the MVP themselves. It's not super disastrous for Mystery Inc. because they've only really lost the zombies, but the opportunity of taking down Masterful is now gone, and in its wake is a much even scarier Khemri team.
Yeah, I feel like it's safe to say that I struggle to believe that Masterful won't end up with an undefeated record going into playoffs. I feel like he's a lock for top slot, like in top playoffs. It's one of the questions if anyone can actually take him down a peg before the end of playoffs, and I think they'll struggle to get a draw based on how he's playing.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the week, because let's see. So let's run through the matches we didn't get a chance to look at, because there are some other threats still left in the league who we've seen a little bit less of, but have been quietly growing themselves like some weeds behind the scenes. One of those big ones for at the end of day 5 is going to be Java Programming, who we check in with here, well, I say that, they didn't actually have the best of games against the Dead Ends, ultimately ending up in a draw. But this is a Chaos team with an enormous amount of team value already built into them. And let's see, how did they do on the SPP? Not great.
Nah, it seems like a pretty slow game where both teams... Because again, it's Chaos into War, because they're very punchy teams. based on the results we've seen, I'm guessing the dice just didn't give them any favors in terms of breaking through the lines, and if neither team can break the lines, then you can't really do anything as either of these teams. You're sort of stuck in that awkward stalemate where, like, oh, we're trying to punch, but it's not working. So,
Yes.
There a draw. No, well.
Alright, well, let's pop out here and see if we can find our next match from the rest of the week. So, let's see. So, of course, we saw the West Street Wild getting their 1-0 victory over the Fortnights. Last minute team name did go up against the Steve O Rangers and did manage to pick up a win for themselves with 2 interceptions in a single game.
Excuse me, what? What? How? What?
Those are all valid questions. Let's check it on the SVP, and there we go. It's another game where a team picked up a whole bunch. So last minute team name, Dark Elven Squad.
Sorry.
That's going to help them tremendously.
Just go back to the result for a second. Mm-hmm. So the Elves got 2 interceptions, yes?
Which means that the Orcs passed twice.
The Orcs tried to pass
At least twice.
With elves that were in the way.
Wait a second.
Twice.
Okay, I think the list... No, they passed 3 times because they've got 1 pass listed. So that means they completed 1 pass and they got intercepted twice. So they passed 3 times in 1 game. Which is, at least, which is just incredible and possibly why that result is that way.
I need to lie down just after looking at this.
Well, keep an eye out for where last minute team name ended up, though, because that's a pretty big win. The Orc teams,
Steve
they've been solid so far.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see who else have we got. Oh, that's right. No, so the other Chaos team, the Chosen of Blood, they had a bit of a different story. Going up against the Thunderstrikers, who've been doing pretty well, managing to somehow get a 2-0 win, getting 11 armor breaks along the way.
Okay, the 1 touchdown onto the Elves is going to be that Chaos style play where you get the ball, drive it upfield, cage up. The Elves can't really afford to break that, especially going into Beastmen. Chaos. We need to see how the receiving drive of the Elves went to see how that went so wrong for them. They also received a death. That probably explains why they're going to that second half with the player down.
Oh, a lot of SCP game for the Chaos team as well. I believe that was a loner picking that one up, so they may end up getting higher because of picking up the MVP. And then Bonk and Bosch, I remember, are the Chaos Warriors, and more through there as well. So I think, as much as Chaos is a team that's slow to develop, we have got the 2 Chaos teams. I think we got 3 Chaos teams?
3 Chaos teams, yes.
Yeah, so Rook's Rookie Horror Show, The Chosen of Blood, and Java Programming, they're all, these are Chaos teams that are going to take a long time to develop, but if they're getting these games with a huge amount of SVP in them, maybe we might start to see Chaos teams busting through when we, get to the end of the season.
Let me say busting through, like, Java Programming isn't currently sat very high up the table.
Let's see, so we also have the Svensters, who did manage to secure a win over the Biting Mangrove Bruisers. Looks like it was a pretty tough game. Also, with passing, and also this time with an expulsion, which probably wasn't the first time they tried to foul.
Absolutely not. The expulsions on both sides indicate this is probably a very messy game, but I guess if you get outbrawled by the Norse, you are going to end up getting ground out to that 1-0 victory that they have managed to take themselves here. Pass was probably just like the last 10 value pass. I'm not expecting that to be like a high SPP play, or a high value play, excuse me. Yeah, just some fairly reasonable SPP all around. The problem with the Lizardmen names is that you don't really know what the players are off the top of your head.
Yes, at least for the Spencers, as much as they've unhelpfully called all of their linemen Sven, and we do see there's a replacement strong arm Sven who's made it in. Going to be competing, of course, directly against the original strong arm Sven. Now, more dead than alive. That's a good amount of SPP, though. Let's have a look at the stats.
Fairly safe.
It looks like, it was relatively even in terms of actual possession of the ball.
Yeah, fairly low movement game in terms of yards, so I'm guessing something went awry on a kick. I don't know. But fairly reasonable game for both sides that just ended up going the way of the Norse in the end, I would say.
Yeah, the blocks succeeded, definitely the big disparity between the two teams. They're almost twice as many, in fact, no, more than twice as many for the Svenses.
You have to remember, though, the Lizard Men side do run the Skinks, who don't really want to be blocking Norse.
So, speaking of Lizardmen, we'll check in with the Renaissance Painters and the Rookie Horror Show. Actually, I take it back. I believe that was a concession.
Just look at... Okay, never mind. Yeah, we'll believe it's a concession, or at least a default win. Going to Cheez-Its versus Construction Limited, the Ogre side continues to struggle as they are taken to a 3-0 victory against the Cheez-Its. Spirit defeat, I guess, would be the more accurate phrase to use there. Lots of punching going on. I believe that would have to be another Noblar that has died for them, but what I'm imagining happening is the Ogres were just outmaneuvered by the Skaven, because you can't really fight. The Noblars can't really do much in terms of getting in the way of Skaven, because even they get run over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they got run over.
That is incredible. Wow, okay, so we've got two Skaven teams who are suddenly making huge growth spurts towards these final 2 weeks. Keep your eyes out for the Cheez-Its as well, even if it's just playing spoiler for some other team to get in to the top 8. That's still pretty nasty stuff. I believe that's all the ones we've actually got matches for, so let's look at the overall scoreboard at the end of the week. We can see, of course, Masterful remains up at the top. Let me just change that a second. That's the start of week. That's silly me. There we go. The end of week. There we go. So, yeah, Karaka with Java Programming actually moving into second place, matching scores with Hogdude Scott. But look at that team value, the highest in the league for Karaka.
Absolutely. I guess, like, if you're going to try and outbrawl the Khemri side, having better players and more players is probably a good way of attempting to do that. So there's a 3-way tie for second between themselves, Mystery Inc. and the West Street War, who we saw earlier. A last-minute team name and Dead Ends will be competing for that 5th place slot. Then we go to the Svensters at 3-2 records, who haven't actually managed to draw a game yet compared to everyone around them. And then we have this massive hunt for those last few playoff slots, as we see a bunch of teams on 2 wins. Chosen Blood top of them with 2 draws, 1 loss, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially more. One sec, where's the rest of the table? Okay, only 5 teams at 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. They can all easily snipe the top slots here. They can make it to playoffs. They can go forward in this tournament.
Yeah, Cheez, as we mentioned, getting a huge amount of SPP from our last one. Maybe, just maybe, can sneak in, but yeah, the Jets, who we saw earlier on, currently hanging around in 9th. Definitely with a good shot of breaking in. Of course, with the way the playoffs work, the higher seeded you are coming into it, which we're expecting Masterful to be the number 1 seed, it means that they're going to have to probably go up against a number 8 seed, which could well be a team they've not had a chance to even play against so far this season.
What would win, the sheer punching power of Masterful, or just the sheer touchdown scoring ability of the Skaven? That is actually a matchup I want to see, even if it is like in the tournament. I just want that match now. I've put it in my head. It's like going very badly with Skaven just getting domed in the first half, but I want to see it anyway.
I think if Conadura can have a good couple of last games and maybe build up a bit of a bench for the Jets, they could do pretty well. I'm still, coming into week, number 6. My big thing, as well as seeing how the Jets and the lower ranked teams do, is to see how well Chaos are able to take over. Now they've gotten a lot closer to being a developed team with actual skills. I think they could really give Masterful a run for the money, particularly if Karaka. I think, I think Masterful's played against Hogdude and a lot of the other top teams, that they might well just end up defaulting to Karaka, and another chance to maybe put some serious damage into the Khemri team.
Absolutely, but that's... I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me look at the... I don't think they've played yet, so these are going to be the I think that is a guaranteed match for next week. So that will happen, and that'll probably be for the top spot. We'd still be on 4 wins for... No, actually, if Java Programming win next week, they do actually take the top spot, because they'd be 4-1 versus... I can't do math, sorry. They'd still be 5-1. Never mind, it's not for the top spot. It will be Masterful still going forward, but this puts a massive dent in his shield.
I mean, particularly, we've got these last few weeks. If there are good games particularly for Java programming, but also for the Chosen of Blood team, who are fairly further behind. Unfortunately for the Rookie Horror Show, doesn't seem like things have gone so well for them. I think they're just above starting TV at this point, so they're going to struggle.
Yeah. But
for the other two Chaos teams, if they start getting stuff in like Claw, then they could really go off.
Yeah, I forget So like Claw will help massively shred, because as soon as you get these Tomb Guardians going down, that again, we said earlier, decay is not a good trait to have, and it will mean that these Tomb Guardians will go down and probably go down very hard if you're able to do so. So having something like that would help up massively into them.
But guys, that's all the matches we've got for you this evening. We'll of course be doing our very best to bring you plenty more Blood Bowl in next week's competition. As I said, it's shaping up to be a big clash as the Chaos will be knocking on the door of the tombs of the Khemri, and we'll see if they will be the ones to break through the Masterful streak. And of course, we've got our other lower place teams looking to try and bust up the table. Our biased favourites, I want to say, they've entertained us, the Jorvik Jets, entertaining us once again and looking pretty good for their playoff runs. I guess it will be the last thing before we end this evening. Were there any other teams we should be keeping an eye out for next week as we head into the final 2 weeks of the regular season?
Honestly, I'm still thinking the Thunder Strikers. It's another agility heavy team that could potentially do similar things to the Jets. They have the lower team value, certainly. They might have less power, but they can still perform a decent amount of nonsense that could be enough to get them into playoffs.
Alright guys, so same time, same place next week. Thank you, Kirby, for coming along and joining us today. We've been unofficial coverage of the NUEL's week number 5. Week number 6 and 7, last ones of the season, and we shall see what our top 8 looks like when all the dust has been settled. We'll see you guys next time for more NUEL Blood Bowl action.